One officer was also hurt. Police say the injuries aren't life-threatening. Salt Lake PD has now handed the case to West Jordan Police, who are leading Utah's officer-involved shooting protocol investigation. Traffic on 2100 South is also still limited to a couple lanes in each direction near 3rd West. Live in South Salt Lake, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
A woman has been arrested accused of hitting 2 young children with her vehicle inside a Provo mobile home park. Police claim Nareda Miranda was driving with several bags of trash on the hood of her vehicle at the time of the crash, as she was planning to throw them in the dumpster on the way out of the park. A 3-year-old girl died while her 4-year-old sibling sustained a broken leg. Cindy Baxter, who lives in the park, spoke with KSL TV.
The parents were unconsolable, obviously. It was a lot. I can't even imagine what they're going through.
Miranda was booked into the Utah County Jail on suspicion of manslaughter. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas says the official charges could be different. There is a big difference between negligence and recklessness.
Negligent homicide requires that you're negligent, and manslaughter requires that you're reckless. And reckless means that it's really what we say is a gross deviation from what a normal person would do. It's not just, I turned away to grab my child, or my drink spilled in my lap or something like that. You're doing something that's pretty outrageously bad. And I think what the police are saying is anyone who would put bags on the front of their car, block their windshield in a residential neighborhood, is acting more than just carelessly. They're at a level of recklessness.
We will provide updates on the official charges once they are filed. Real Salt Lake and the Utah Royals have introduced their first ever president of soccer operations, and it's a name that RSL fans have heard for years.
There's a man open. He will lead it for Christ in the goal.
The Larry H. Miller Company has named former RSL player and head coach Jason Kreis as the first ever president of soccer operations for both RSL and the Royals.
Nobody will work harder or be more committed to this than me. The best is yet to come.
Kreis was the first player Real Salt Lake ever signed back in 2004, and he went on to become Major League Soccer's first ever 100-goal scorer wearing an RSL uniform. He later went on to coach RSL, including in 2009, when they won their first and only MLS Cup championship. 16 years later, Kreis says he wants to do everything he can to bring that championship glory back to Utah.
Fortune favors the bold, and I do plan to be bold.
At America First Field, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Utah Mammoth have signed an 8-year, $80 million extension with Logan Cooley. Mammoth owner Ryan Smith was at the new Mammoth training facility to make the announcement. Cooley praised Utah and the way the team has been celebrated since moving to the state.
I love it here. It's, the best time I've had playing hockey. The fans, the facilities we have are second to none. And, I think just the team we have with Gunther, Keller, Sergey, the core we have here, it's a special group, and I'm excited to add to that.
Now Cooley will be back on the rink when the Mammoth play the Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday. And in breaking news, the Federal Reserve has just voted to cut interest rates for only the second time this year. The Fed cutting rates by 0.25%, and we will have continuous coverage for you, including a live interview coming up at 12:45 on this subject. KSL's top national story this hour. Hurricane Melissa is still in the Caribbean. It's now hitting Cuba and moving in on the Bahamas. Hurricane scientist Kelly Ryan with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the storm was so powerful that they had to turn back because of the turbulence. She told ABC News about her experience.
There were a lot of land effects which tend to disrupt the circulation. So, for example, we dealt with a lot of turbulence related to the mountainous regions of the islands. And while it isn't as strong as it was before, that wind field has expanded. And so you're still looking at a very dangerous situation for those people still in the path of the system.
Melissa was the strongest storm ever recorded to hit Jamaica. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Tito.
Good afternoon. Looks like our main valley freeways are looking good at this hour. However, there are some issues on our secondary freeways. Maria.
Thank you, Tito. KSL News Time, 12:05.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
you spend half your day walking or standing while working, if you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, a person was shot dead by police this morning. We're monitoring the situation and we'll provide you with updates. KSL News Time, 12:07. Salt Lake County health officials are warning of a probable case of measles. A release from the county health department says a person with measles-like symptoms is refusing to be tested, so they can't verify the person actually has the measles. They are asking everyone to please cooperate if contacted by health workers to help protect others. Utah health officials are recommending early measles vaccination for infants under a year old living in or traveling to Washington County. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
The general recommendation is for children to get their first MMR vaccine at 12 months, but cases are on the rise, especially in Washington County, and the Utah Department of Health and Human Services says children in the area should get their first shot at 6 months.
Babies are still developing their immune systems, and so they are at a greater risk of having more severe complications or illnesses if they do contract measles. So we do want to protect them.
Utah DHHS epidemiologist Clarissa Kessling says early vaccination is safe, although some studies suggest the effectiveness of the vaccine may decrease later in life. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Senator Mike Lee has come under fire after critics accused him of linking immigrants to the measles outbreak across the U.S. The senator reposted a story about a measles outbreak here in Utah with a comment questioning if those cases were from U.S. citizens. There have been 59 people with diagnosed measles cases in Utah this year. America's obesity rate is down. ABC's Jim Ryan has more.
Physicians who have prescribed GLP-1 drugs to their patients say
it's been a game changer.
Dr. Gerald Regato.
They feel better, they're more active, they're just more engaged with what they're doing.
Gallup says the use of the drugs has helped to drive obesity rates to their lowest in 15 years. But at the same time, rates of diabetes, the disease that GLP drugs were designed to combat, are at historic highs. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Wegovy and Ozempic are expected to reach $300 billion in the next decade. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Tito Nani.
We have a new accident. This is at the intersection of 5400 South on the northbound Mountain View corridor. It currently has 2 right lanes blocked as you make your way up through that northbound intersection. We're also seeing another accident. This is on southbound US 40 on Main Street in Heber. 2 right lanes are blocked as you make your way through the intersection at East 1200 South. It's Foothill Rug Gallery's semi-annual sale. Get the biggest savings of the year, up to 70% off. Foothill Rug Gallery's semi-annual sale, 1460 South Foothill Drive. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
We continue to inch closer to inversion season, so look for a high of 60 degrees today, hazy sunshine. The haze sticks around tomorrow, 58, mostly sunny. Halloween Day, 61, partly cloudy skies. Trick-or-treaters looking at 50s and 40s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, but still a little nippy in downtown Salt Lake City, 50 degrees. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos, we'll hear more about the Salt Lake County Council and their decision to close the daycares at rec centers. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health in yours, you'll always have the care you need to live the healthiest life possible. That's the power of we. Intermountain Health.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill's going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a man is dead and an officer is recovering after Salt Lake City police say a confrontation with a man armed with a rock led to a fatal shooting near 2100 South and 3rd West. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, the Federal Reserve has cut the interest rate to 0.25%. That is the second cut this year. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Main Valley Freeway is in great shape at the moment. However, we're still seeing some slight delays elsewhere throughout the valley. Maria?
Afternoon highs today, running 8 degrees warmer than yesterday. We'll continue the warming trend into the weekend. I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's 52 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. It is day 29 of the government shutdown, and Republicans and Democrats don't appear any closer on a compromise for a funding fix. Democrats say they are united in pushing for talks to extend health care premiums. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, they're pushing for emergency funding for SNAP food assistance beyond November 1st.
For the first time in history, a president
Donald Trump is refusing to fund SNAP during a shutdown.
Republicans who control the House, Senate, and White House say they will not hold negotiations until Democrats help reopen the government. President Trump is in South Korea today, his last stop on his trip to Asia, and today's APEC summit leading up to a one-on-one with China's leader Thursday. ABC's Rachel Scott is in South Korea.
21 world leaders are gathering here for the APEC summit, but much of that overshadowed by the president's meeting with Chinese President Xi tomorrow. And this morning, he's optimistic a trade war can be averted. And the president, while here in Asia, has been trying to finalize the details of trade deals. The president wants South Korea to invest $350 billion in the United States as part of a trade deal reached back in July, but still no firm details from either side on whether that will happen.
The Federal Reserve Board wrapping up its two-day policy meeting and, as expected, has lower interest rates by a quarter percentage point. The board had been monitoring the labor market with a slowdown in hiring, along with inflation that remains high. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze has more on how the drop could impact Americans' borrowing costs.
The average credit card rate is still near a record high 20%. A new 60-month car loan, 7.1%. And the 30-year fixed mortgage rate just hit the lowest level in a year at 6.13%. The typical rule is that if you're able to drop a full percentage point off your mortgage rate, it is a good time to refinance.
The question now, will the Reserve Board issue another rate cut before the end of the year? You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Salt Lake County Council voted to close the daycares running out of county rec centers. Council member Yero Johnson tells Inside Sources county government is supposed to work to take care of everybody.
Having government step in to provide affordable options is one way that we encourage people to have children earlier, to have more children. And in a state like Utah, where that's what we are encouraging people to do, you can't have a daycare desert and lack of availability and a lack of affordability and expect people to have 2, 3, 4 children. You can't expect people to have children in their early 20s.
Johnson has a 2-year-old son himself.
So whether you believe this is the role of government or not, if you want people to live in this community, enjoy the benefits of this community, and to stay here and to bring their culture and to bring their art and their music and everything that makes Salt Lake County so wonderful to live in, you have to make it so that they can. And that is the role of county government, to make the conditions for that to happen.
Councilmember Amy Winder-Newton voted for the closures. She tells Inside Sources daycare is not a role of the county.
And so a lot of our commercial daycares are actually experiencing a shortage. They don't have their seats full. And as we've looked at how do we trim back the county budget in a way that makes sense so that we're taking care of our statutory duties and maybe cutting the things that aren't really a county responsibility, this daycare program came to mind. The other thing that factored into it is a report was done. It was commissioned by the mayor's office that basically says that there's mounting operational and financial challenges, that there are things that there isn't a clear program framework because of a lack of mission or policy objective. It doesn't have good long-term sustainability. So there were some negative things about the daycare programs we're running.
Those families that utilize the daycare will need to find new childcare options by the end of the year. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
Still seeing residual delays from that accident earlier. This was at the intersection of 5400 South on the northbound Mountain View corridor. Looks like 2 right lanes are still blocked as you make your way north through that intersection. And we're seeing some heavy delays. This time it's on southbound Main Street SR 36 in Tooele. This looks to be between 40th North and 20th North. Not sure what this is due to at the moment, but still gathering some more information. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. We do have a warming trend, though it is a slow churn. 60 today, sunshine, hazy. 58 tomorrow, high pressure in place, mostly sunny. Hazy, partly cloudy, and 61 on Friday. You move into Saturday, 65, mostly sunny. 66 by Sunday, sunshine abound. Working into Monday and Tuesday next week, I'm talking about 68 by Tuesday afternoon, flirting with 70 in early November. Quite nice weather. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 52 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. No huge spike in the markets after the Federal Reserve decided to cut interest rates for only the second time this year by 0.25%. They have said that they are still open to cutting rates again before the end of the year, so we'll see how the markets turn out for the rest of the day. We will get a complete update, though, coming up next.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
The perfect present doesn't always come wrapped under the tree. Treat your loved ones to an unforgettable afternoon or evening of music and laughter with the Utah Symphony at Abravanel Hall. With tickets to our holiday programs this December, you're not just giving a gift. You're sharing a heartfelt experience that will create cherished memories. Show them you care with the gift of music this season. Visit usuo.org/holiday to get your tickets.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
KSL News Time 1224.
Everyone's forgotten who runs this valley. Time to remind them.
Yellowstone actor Luke Grimes will be in Utah hosting a small concert out of Park City for charity. Grimes, who plays Case Dutton in the show, will be donating all the money made at the 220-guest show to Saving Gracie Foundation. It's a Utah-based nonprofit animal rescue and sanctuary with a focus on saving neglected and abused horses. Grimes will reprise his role in the spin-off Why Marshals, which happened to film in Utah. Watching Utah's money. United Health is on the up and up. The company has adjusted its guidance for its 2025 profit for the better after a rough few months due to regulatory changes and rising medical costs. In a statement from its CEO, they say that they are confident that they will return to solid earnings growth by 2026. AMD has signed a deal with the U.S. Department of Energy to develop supercomputers. They have said that Lux will be the nation's first dedicated AI factory to train models to run more efficiently and accelerate the AI processes. The online home goods company Wayfair is faring well and beat Wall Street estimates by having their revenue jump 8% in their third quarter. Their CFO says that they don't believe that growth is coming from any macro-related factors, but more a result of initiatives within, like loyalty programs and a shift to physical retail. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow losing some ground in the last half hour despite the Fed's announcement that it's going to cut rates. It sits at 47,807 is up by almost 0.25%, up 101 points. S&P 500 up by 10 points. The NASDAQ up 0.5%, up 120 points. NASA is experimenting with a jet that could travel twice as fast as a normal airplane. ABC's Sophie Flay reports.
NASA's experimental jet taking off on its first test flight over the California desert. Built to fly 925 miles per hour, nearly twice as fast as today's commercial airliners. The X-59 is designed to be the first aircraft to break the sound barrier quietly. The explosive-like sonic boom is why commercial supersonic flight has been banned over the U.S. But the X-59's unique shape turns that boom into more of a thump, no louder than slamming a car door.
The supersonic travel could be especially important for industries involved in medical transportation and disaster relief.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? There's someone on the other line saying they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12th, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official. He'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. And here's Tito Nani.
Still seeing residual delays from that accident earlier at the intersection of 5400 South on the northbound Mountain View corridor. Looks like 2 right lanes are blocked as you make your way through that intersection, and starting to see further backups now, and it's getting closer down towards the 6200 South intersection. And we're also seeing delays. This is on southbound Main Street in Tooele. It's between 40th and 20th North. It appears to be caused by roadwork construction, which has the right lane closed down through a slight stretch of this road. From system install to fast fixes to deliver award-winning heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical, call Whipple Service Champions for the win today. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calling for sunshine today and a high of 60 degrees, very close for the normal on the date. We'll go to 38 overnight, hazy sunshine again tomorrow, 58. 61, partly cloudy skies on Friday, with temperatures dipping into the 50s and 40s for trick-or-treaters in the evening. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 52 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. It's been 4 months since innocent bystander Afu Alu was hit and killed by a stray bullet fired into the crowd at the No Kings rally in Salt Lake City. Now, his widow is demanding to know why charges haven't been filed against the peacekeeper who fired the shot. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the latest. Heather?
Maria Alu's widow, Laura, and her legal team say there has been little to no information released on Afa's case. They say it violates her victim's rights to be kept in the dark, and there's no reason why it should take 4 months to file charges in this high-profile case.
The sign he was peacefully holding that day read, "The world is watching." His reach was and still is worldwide, and the world is most certainly watching.
We at KSL News Radio are choosing not to name him at this time, but her legal team says they know who killed Afa. They're hoping to file a civil lawsuit against the peacekeeper and all other parties who failed to keep Afa safe during that June protest. One of her attorneys, Richard Lambert, reiterated that justice delayed is justice denied.
Do we want prosecutors to be deliberate and cautious and careful as they make that charging decision and review the evidence? Absolutely. But how long does it take?
Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
The DA is suggesting they will soon make a decision about charges in the No King shooting. In a statement, Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill said he sympathizes with the Alu family and his office continues to be available to them. He said the office is carefully working through a complex and nuanced legal analysis. 2 former Homeland Security agents stationed in Utah charged with selling synthetic drugs as a side gig now know how long they'll spend in prison.
Both agents were experts in synthetic bath salts that can mimic the effects of cocaine, meth, and ecstasy. And prosecutors say David Cole and Nicholas Kindle, they would take bath salt seized by agents and sell it to an undercover informant for distribution. At some point, that informant told the FBI what was going on. Both agents have since pleaded guilty. Kindle will spend 5 years in prison, and his mentor, Cole, he got over 7 years. Charging documents say the pair made hundreds of thousands of dollars in this scheme, and it lasted several years. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
The Federal Reserve has made its second interest rate cut of the year. The Fed cut it by 0.25%. It's now the lowest it's been in the last 3 years. It's also a bold move since the bank only has a partial view of how the economy is faring because of the government shutdown. We will have Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove join us at the bottom of the hour to go over what this means for us. Interest rates are at their lowest levels for more than a year, and it's prompting masses of people to refinance their loans. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has the numbers.
Nationwide, the requests to refinance into a better rate increased 9% this month over last. Senior loan officer from Guild Mortgage, Carrie Kimball Mabin, says Utahns are even more anxious to refinance than the rest of the nation.
In the Southwest region here, which includes Utah, we're up over 213%. in 1 month.
The rate for a 30-year mortgage was as high as 7% in January. Now it's closing in on 6%. Kimball Mabin says she expects this trend of refinancing to continue into the near future, especially if rates drop below 6%. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories, day 29 of the government shutdown, and there is still no end in sight. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
As the shutdown enters its 5th week and the pain builds for those who depend on government paychecks or assistance, the House Speaker says he no longer feels a deal can be reached with Democratic leaders in Congress.
I think Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are irredeemable at this point. I don't think they'll be able to tell Mondami in New York and his disciples that they voted to open the government.
Mike Johnson says he thinks the only way out of the shutdown now is to convince 5 moderate Senate Democrats to drop their objections and break the filibuster of a House-passed bill that would restore agency funding, but only through November 21st. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
A key factor in the government shutdown is tax credits for people who get their health insurance through the federal marketplace. Utah Insurance Commissioner John Pike says if those credits expire, premiums are going to go up a lot.
An income of about $128,000. So what families would have to pay would increase from approximately $847 a month to $1,786 a month.
He says the percentage increase for lower incomes is even higher than that. Those tax credits are scheduled to end on December 31st. First look traffic, here's Tito Nani.
Looks to be looking great on the northbound and southbound side of I-15. However, there are a little bit of delays as we look elsewhere throughout the valley. Maria.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical, and I'm humbled to win Utah's Best of State for 2025 for the 15th year in a row. After 28 years, we're all about you. Over 1,700 five-star Google reviews and a 4.8 customer satisfaction score to prove it. We'll keep working hard for you. I've spent this year advocating with lawmakers for better Medicare reimbursement, ensuring you always have the best access to medical supplies you need. From Idaho Falls to St. George, our 11 stores are your home for comfort. When you hear Alpine Home Medical, think of that best of state experience every single time. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
John, what are you doing? Get in my car. So why are you walking to work?
Thanks, man. It's these insanely high gas prices. They're draining my bank account. I can't afford to drive anymore.
Dude, don't walk. Just do what I do because I never pay full price for gas anymore. I use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Oh, wait. You're telling me you get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PROFIT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code PROFIT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PROFIT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PROFIT.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story this half hour. The widow of the man shot and killed in a No Kings protest earlier this year is not happy with how long the investigation is taking, and how long it's taking the DA to file the charges. KSL News Time, 12:37. Golf is a growing industry in Utah, and a PGA tournament in southern Utah was a big boost to the local economy. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports.
The PGA's Black Desert Golf Tournament last week in St. George had an estimated economic impact of $178 million, according to Greater Zion Tourism. Now, that's part of the $2.1 billion economic impact by golf for the state. The Utah Golf Association says the industry pumped $53 million in taxes into state and local coffers and created 19,000 jobs. The UGA says supply and demand is out of whack, and the Wasatch Front needs 5 more golf courses.
It's hoped the success of the Black Desert Tournament will generate more interest in PGA tournaments in the state. Governor Cox announced a master plan that will change the way Utahns travel around their cities. This plan, created by UDOT, is called the Utah Trail Network. It will connect the state with paved trails for people to bike and walk on around their communities. UDOT Stephanie Tomlin says it outlines over 3,000 miles of reliable trails, and she hopes it helps with traffic congestion, air quality, but also the overall quality of life for Utah residents.
You know, we're giving people these transportation routes and trails that are fun to be on. They encourage people to get out and have some physical activity and, you know, kind of be together outside.
The network will connect 208 towns and cities across the state. Utahns will have to deal with changing the clocks for at least another year. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The U.S. Senate briefly looked over a bill that would make daylight saving time permanent this week, but passed on it. Senators failed to reach consensus, so Utahns will be switching the clocks twice a year for the foreseeable future. The bill was actually first unanimously passed in March 2022, but it's not being fast-tracked in any way, so set a reminder to change clocks back an hour on Sunday. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Still seeing residual delays on the northbound Mountain View corridor at the intersection of 5400 South. This was due to an accident from earlier, and we're still seeing 2 right lanes blocked as you make your way northbound through that intersection. Beyond this point, things do start to clear up. Elsewhere throughout the valley, we're seeing a traffic jam on southbound Main Street. This is in Tooele. It's between Erdo Way and the intersection at 2400 North. It appears to be caused by construction, which is causing a right lane closure through this stretch of the road. Prep for winter. Get a furnace inspection from a certified heating contractor to check for safety and efficiency. A reminder from Enbridge Gas. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's a beautiful but hazy late October day. 60 degrees this afternoon with sunshine and, of course, a little bit of pollution trapped at the valley floor. Overnight, 38, chilly. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 58. We move into Halloween Day, partly cloudy, 61. Trick-or-treaters looking at temps in the 50s and 40s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And right now, 52 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Midday, we'll chat with Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove about the Fed's rate cut. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell & Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
Hey, Utah! Are you ready for the Utah Mammoth to hit the ice? From game-winning goals to behind-the-scenes moments, Mammoth Plus brings the action to you all season long. Whether you're at home, on the go, or in the stands, don't miss a single shift. Visit UtahMammothPlus.com and start streaming today. That's UtahMammothPlus.com. Every game, every goal, live on Mammoth Plus.
Man, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. And I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the partner program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
KSL News Time 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
the widow of the innocent bystander who was killed during a No Kings rally 4 months ago is demanding to know why charges have not been filed yet against the peacekeeper they claim fired the shot that killed her husband. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, Salt Lake County likely has its first measles case in the ongoing outbreak. The patient's symptoms match, but they are refusing to test. Third, traffic and weather together, Tito.
Major Valley freeways are looking great at this hour, and it looks like accidents on our secondary freeways are starting to clear as well.
High pressure running the show the next 7 to 8 days. Temperatures responding in a warm way. I'm Matt Johnson.
And sunny and 52 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. As a government shutdown rages on, there is a bright spot when it comes to interest rates. The Federal Reserve Board announcing it's lowered the benchmark rate by another 0.25%. ABC's Alexis Christoforous on the impact for Americans' household costs.
This was widely expected. What it's going to do is make borrowing costs for consumers and businesses a little less expensive. By that, I mean your credit card interest rate, your auto loan interest rate may come down a little bit because of this. This rate is not directly tied to mortgage rates, though we have seen mortgage rates come down in anticipation of the Fed cutting rates.
Senate lawmakers are not expected to take another vote today aimed at ending the shutdown. Critical food assistance programs, including SNAP, will run out of funding in the coming days. Israel announced that the Gaza ceasefire with Hamas has resumed. It follows several Israeli airstrikes in Gaza yesterday and today. The Hamas-run health ministry says more than 100 people were killed in the strikes. This is ABC.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. As you just heard on ABC News, the Federal Reserve cut the interest rate by 0.25% today. Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove joins me now live. And Robert, I'm taking a look at the markets. They were okay for a bit, and then the Federal Reserve chair spoke and they plummeted. Why is that?
Well, this is what happened. So right now, Jerome Powell is having a press conference, and he's explaining why they did this. And you know, Jerome Powell, they're in a tough position. He's talking about how they've got two big risks that they're trying to mitigate. So they've got the risk of a labor market slowing, and they've got risk of inflation going up, and they're trying to find the right path, and it's really tough.
Okay, but is he also talking about another rate cut this year?
Well, so he was asked about that, and he was very clear. He said, we will not commit to more rate cuts this year. And, you know, and he's not just saying that. There was actually two of the Fed governors voted against this rate cut today. One of them wanted to go further. The other one didn't want to cut rates at all. So there is kind of this disconnect within the Fed about whether they should go further or whether they should be done.
What does all of this tell us about the economy and the markets and how they're responding?
Well, a big part of the struggle is we don't know as much as we should. Because of the government shutdown, we're not getting the normal data that we would get. We don't know what the labor market really looks like. We didn't get an employment report. And so we think the economy is okay. We think it's holding up okay, but there's just not that certainty that markets want.
Yeah, and that uncertainty is really tough for a lot of us to make decisions on our spending. We're going into the holidays, whether we want to spend how much money we want to spend during the holidays or whether we need to refinance our mortgages. It makes it tough to make decisions.
Yeah, and we are seeing some of those price pressures. We're seeing that consumers are talking about that, how they're feeling price increases. They're feeling like their job isn't as stable as it was in the past. And we're, especially with lower income, we're hearing about higher stress, higher costs. And while upper income are doing okay, we're really seeing that stress with lower income.
A lot of times these numbers kind of sound like wah, wah, wah to a lot of people. I mean, what's the big takeaway today?
The big takeaway is we are seeing interest rates coming down. So you should see lower interest rates with your credit cards, with business borrowing, potentially with mortgage rates, and so it could be a better time to buy homes and expand a business in the future.
Yeah, before I let you go, why is it not directly tied to things like mortgage rates?
Well, the Fed only directly controls very short-term interest rates. A mortgage rate is tied to longer rates, and so the Fed doesn't have the same level of control. Really, markets control that, and it depends on how markets feel about the economy moving forward. And markets don't exactly know what's going to happen either. And so we have greater volatility in those rates.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Sure.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
All lanes are now open on northbound Mountain View Corridor at the 5400 South intersection. That crash from earlier has been all cleared up and no residual delays remain. The only issues I can see out there at this moment is that continual traffic jam on southbound Main Street in Tooele. It's between Erda Way and the intersection at 2400 North. This appears to be caused by construction, which is causing a right lane closure through this stretch of the road. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast is full of high pressure and a warming trend. I got you down for 60 today. Sunshine, a little bit hazy at the valley floor. Tomorrow, 58, mostly sunny and hazy. We hold on to the pollution of the valley floor on Friday. Hazy sunshine, partly cloudy, with a high of 61 for Halloween afternoon. We'll go to 65 on Saturday, mostly sunny. 66, slowly warming on Sunday. We keep those mostly sunny skies in place Monday and Tuesday next week, but how about 65 and 68 respectively? From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 52 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Well, as you heard, the market's not liking the uncertainty in the Federal Reserve's decision to lower interest rates today, but they are bouncing all over the place. The Dow initially lost 150 points in the last half hour, but now it's kind of bouncing back a bit. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Comcast Business can help turn your small business into a connected, secure, modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How healthcare offices become the data-protecting caregivers that we all depend on. And how wealth management firms become cyber-securing guardians of your information. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, and Wi-Fi backup, your business can stay connected and get threat-ready with Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Now through November 16th, new Comcast Business customers can get started with 150 megabit internet plus security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Requires enrollment in paperless billing and autopay with bank account. Early termination fee applies. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Medical unit, respond to 102 Maple Avenue. Possible stroke victim.
When stroke occurs, you have 60 minutes to win or lose the race of your life. There are new treatments, but you must get to a hospital fast. If you suddenly feel weakness on one side, have trouble speaking, walking, or seeing, it could be a stroke. Call 911. Get to a hospital. Because how you spend the next 60 minutes could determine how you spend the rest of your life. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
If you're struggling with your mortgage, there's a free government program that offers expert one-on-one advice about your mortgage options. Call 1-888-995-HOPE or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
KSL News Time 12:54. An art exhibition in Germany invites visitors to explore the world of scents. It offers 81 fragrances across 37 galleries. It uses atomizers and diffusers to connect art with the smells of different time periods. Curator Robert Muller-Greneau says it's the first exhibition of its kind to bring scents into a museum on this scale. Now, the show highlights the significance of scents in things like religion, politics, art, and more, offering a unique sensory experience. Watching Utah's Money, drug maker Eli Lilly is partnering with Walmart to expand access to weight loss drugs. They will now be offered for pickup at Walmart pharmacies by mid-November. Halloween can be expensive, so different restaurants and fast food chains are offering spooky deals. That includes Chipotle, Krispy Kreme, Burger King, Moe's Southwest Grill, Shake Shack, and more. Apple is now worth $4 trillion. It's one of the few publicly traded companies to reach the trillions in market value. It joins NVIDIA and Microsoft, both of which hit that milestone earlier this year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, markets bouncing back. The Dow had gone down 150 points after the Fed announcement, now down only 70 points, sitting at 47,636. S&P 500 is down by 11 points, but the NASDAQ, it's up by 70 points. A newly discovered Dr. Seuss manuscript is set to be published next year. It features the Cat in the Hat and celebrates the U.S. It's called Sing the 50 United States, and it aims to teach readers the names of each state. The publication coincides with the country's 250th birthday.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey, Lowry Markkanen, and Walker Kessler tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at UtahJazz.com.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. With honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be shared with friends or family. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What's happening, Tito?
Things are looking good on all of our Valley freeways at this hour. I-15, I-80, and I-215, all with good speeds and no issues. We are still seeing some slight delays over in Tooele. It's on southbound Main Street. This is between Erdo Way and the intersection at 2400 North. Looks to be caused by construction, which has the right lane blocked throughout this stretch. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
And no issues in the 7-day forecast. It looks really nice. Not a chance of rain, and the temperature climbing over the next few days. Today's high 60, but by next Tuesday up to 68 degrees. Right now in downtown Salt Lake City, We are looking at 52 degrees in Salt Lake, Ogden at 52, Provo 53, St. George is 64 degrees at this hour. In Moab, I mean, these warm places, not much warmer. 52 for Moab. And like I said, St. George just at 64 degrees. And in Tooele at this hour, it's 50 degrees. Sunshine, 52 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Several months after the tragic shooting death of Afa Alu, the innocent bystander killed during a No Kings protest in Salt Lake City, today his family demanding answers and accountability from government officials.
It hasn't just been 1 month since Afa was tragically shot to death, or 2 months, or 3 months, but we've now passed 4 months without any clear accountability.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, October 29th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, the family says they've been kept in the dark all this time, and they say there's no reason to not have any charges 4 months after his death. Also this hour,
babies are still developing their immune systems, and so they are at a greater risk of having more severe complications or illnesses.
New vaccination recommendations from state health officials for infants who are most susceptible to issues arising from measles exposure. But first, our top stories. Salt Lake County likely has its first measles case in the ongoing outbreak. We say likely because the Salt Lake County Health Department says the probable patient has refused any testing or to work with them. But they say the symptoms reported to them match the measles. They are asking that if a public health worker reaches out to you, speak with them so they can help prevent the spread of the disease. If you are worried about whether the person is who they say they are, you can ask them to send you an email for their official .gov email address. The widow of the man who was killed at the No Kings protest more than 4 months ago is demanding answers from Salt Lake City as to why no charges have been filed for her husband's death. Afa Alu was fatally shot by a peacekeeper who fired into the crowd while trying to shoot at another man who brought a gun to the protest. His widow, Lara, says her legal team plans to file a lawsuit against the man they have identified as the shooter and anyone else whose actions contributed to Afa's death.
My husband Afa's death was the result of individual, organizational, and systemic failures. My intention with this lawsuit is to put my words to action, to create impact for accountability where responsibility was absent, and where negligence cost my husband his life.
They are also demanding more transparency from the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office. They claim the office has violated Lara's rights as Afa's widow. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Federal Reserve cut interest rates today by a quarter point. ABC News business reporter Alexis Christoforous has more.
After this meeting, the next time the Fed may cut rates is in December. And again, the Fed is really dealing with a balancing act, if you will, because inflation is starting to heat up, yet we do have evidence of a slowdown in the job market. This week alone, major companies, including Amazon, Target, GM, announcing thousands of layoffs.
Your money at this moment after a big drop. Markets starting to level off. The Dow now down by 72 points, sitting at 47,634. S&P down by 13 points, but the NASDAQ, it's up by 36 points. Our top traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Let's check in with Tito Nani.
Things are looking good on all major freeways throughout the Wasatch Front. No delays and good speeds on all major freeways in Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo. Some slight delays over in Tooele on southbound Main Street. It's between Erdo Way and the intersection at 2400 North. Looks to be caused by construction, which has the right lane blocked throughout this stretch of the road. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 60 degrees. No chance of rain for the next 7 days. 52 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
When winter's chill settles in across Utah, nothing welcomes you home like the glowing warmth of a fireplace. Croft Fireplace is Utah's trusted experts in gas, electric, and custom luxury fireplaces. Locally owned, locally trusted. Whether you want to convert your old hearth, install a new insert, or create a striking feature wall, the licensed team at Croft handles it from start to finish, bringing years of craftsmanship, quality design, and personalized service to every project. Every fireplace is built to inspire comfort, connection, and calm. A place to gather, relax, and enjoy the warmth of home with family and friends. Visit the Salt Lake or Bountiful showrooms to see your dream fireplace in person. Or let Croft Fireplace come to you. Stay cozy all season. Croft Fireplace, where warmth becomes home. Visit croftfireplace.com to learn more. Croft. Fires. Home.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's been 4 months since Afa Alu was killed while taking part in the No Kings protest in Salt Lake City. Today, his family says they are still waiting for answers and accountability from the city and county. We'll get that story with KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson in just a few minutes, but first, we continue to track developing news this hour in Salt Lake, where a man is dead and a police officer injured after a shooting earlier today. This is in the area of 300 West and 2100 South. It's there that we find KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera, who joins me now live. And Eric, what's the situation looking like now?
Maria, it's still a very active scene, police everywhere, and I'm just standing off 2100 South where yellow tape and flashing lights stretch across both sides of the street. On one corner, you've got a McDonald's lot blocked off, and across from it, the Chevron station is also taped up. Detectives and crime scene investigators are working under the midday sun right now, marking evidence and documenting what led to the gunfire that broke out just after 9 this morning. Salt Lake City police say officers responded to an assault in progress, and that's when they came face to face with a man armed with a rock.
Just after 9 a.m., we received a call of an urgent assault in progress. 2 of our officers responded on scene where they encountered an adult male who was armed with a rock. During the encounter, the subject male threw the rock at our officers. At some point during that interaction, at least one shot was fired by the officers, striking the male individual, who went down on scene. He was then transported to an area hospital where he died on his way or when he arrived at the hospital. One of our officers were injured, non-life-threatening injuries at this time. He's being treated at the local hospital right now. Protocol Team 4 is led by West Jordan Police Department. They're on scene right now. They're handling the investigation at this time.
Eric, UDOT cameras in that area look like it's a big traffic mess. So what do drivers need to know?
For sure. So listeners definitely want to avoid 2100 South for the next several hours. And right now, for example, the right lane heading westbound near the Chevron is blocked off, and the left lane heading eastbound is closed as well. Police have also shut down some north and south traffic on 3rd West right at the intersection. So basically, if you're trying to get through this stretch, maybe plan on detours or major slowdowns while investigators continue processing the scene.
Thanks, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera live at the scene of an officer-involved shooting at 2100 South and 3rd West here in Salt Lake City. It's been more than 4 months since an innocent bystander was killed by a stray bullet at the No Kings protest in Salt Lake City. Now his widow and her legal team are demanding to know why charges still haven't been filed in the case. Joining me live in studio is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson. And Heather, you were at today's news conference, and what did they have to say?
Maria, we heard from Laura Alou today, the widow of Afa Alou, the man who was killed in the protest. You may recall back on June 14th, Afa was accidentally shot by a so-called peacekeeper at the No Kings rally. That peacekeeper was trying to fire at Arthur Gamboa, who had lawfully brought an unloaded gun to the protest. Gamboa was also shot, but he's okay. He was originally arrested, but was later released. But to this day, neither Gamboa nor the peacekeeper that shot Alou or Gamboa have ever been charged. One of her lawyers, Richard Lambert, says justice delayed is justice denied.
We've now passed 4 months without any clear accountability being demanded by those who have authority to do so. And I might just indicate that, do we want prosecutors to be deliberate and cautious and careful as they make that charging decision and review the evidence? Absolutely. But how long does it take to review the videos that many of you either produced or your station produced or received and then broadcast, and talk to the handful of people who are actually focused on the shooting when it occurred, or to review the forensics that are involved? And this is not a whodunit.
They did name the peacekeeper in this news conference, but we at KSL News Radio have chosen not to identify him at this time. Today, it seemed apparent to me, though, that Laura was sticking to her prepared script so she could keep it together as she talked about her husband's death, what he stood for, and her call for answers.
4 months ago, Afa's life was taken in the most undeserving way. My 2 children and I will have to live without Afa's enormous love, infectious light, his booming laugh, and his bold and humble Samoan presence and positivity for the rest of our lives. He was a force. A force for good and a force to be reckoned with. The sign he was peacefully holding that day read, "The world is watching." His reach was and still is worldwide, and the world is most certainly watching this moment in time. The world is watching the action in response to the senseless and irresponsible injustice that he never deserved, and that no one else deserves in the future. The world is watching how we all rise stronger together with our actions for responsibility, justice, and meaningful change. Afa always stood for those who needed justice the most, and now I stand for him on his behalf. For his sake and for all of us, the world is watching.
She also talked about the lawsuit she and her legal team intend to file. Her lawyers say it would not only be against the peacekeeper who fired the shot, but likely against the organizers whose policies failed to keep Afa safe.
My husband Afa's death was the result of individual, organizational, and systemic failures. My intention with this lawsuit is to put my words to action, to create impact for accountability where responsibility was absent, and where negligence cost my husband his life. We all deserve to be protected by responsible policies, organizations, and safeguards that prevent senseless and avoidable violence in public spaces.
Her lawyers say they intend to file a civil suit with or without criminal charges being filed.
So, Heather, what does the district attorney say about all of this?
Since the news conference, we've heard from District Attorney Sim Gill. He said in a statement that they sympathize with the pain and loss, and they've been open and available to the Alou family and their legal team despite all these claims. But Gill says things like this take time, and they're carefully working through this very complex and nuanced case. However, they do expect to reach a decision soon.
All right. Thank you, Heather. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 30 seconds.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
The first probable case of measles has made its way to Salt Lake County. In a press release from the County Health Department, Executive Director Dorothy Adams says the supposed patient has declined to be tested and will not participate in their investigation, meaning the county won't be able to properly confirm the illness. County is working on contact tracing now, but asks those who may be suspected of having the measles help the county with their investigations. County Health Department says these investigations are important to public health. With measles continuing to spread, state health officials are now recommending early measles vaccination for some babies. The usual recommendation is for children to get their first measles, mumps, and rubella or MMR vaccine at 12 months. But now the Utah Department of Health and Human Services says if you live in or are traveling to Washington County, to get your baby vaccinated at 6 months.
The early recommended MMR is it's not recommended widespread. And here's why. It's not part of the regular vaccine schedule for MMR. So if your child is between 6 months of age and 1 year and is living in or traveling to that area, because there is this ongoing community spread, that's why we've made this recommendation. That area has met the criteria. And again, on our website, we define kind of what that criteria is. But essentially, it's just this ongoing community spread, right? There's this increased risk of measles transmission and infection. And measles, as we know, is incredibly infectious. I mean, if you're in a room with somebody who has been infected with measles, even if they leave that room, that virus can stay in the air for up to 2 hours. So it's just super easy for it to spread amongst people. And so because we know it's down there in the area, we know it's spreading, that's why we've issued this additional recommendation. That being said, if the early dose is given, it is still recommended that that child still receive the regular 2 doses, the 2 regular doses for the MMR, like regular schedule.
Health Department epidemiologist Clarissa Kiesling tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis that early vaccination is generally seen as safe, and the vaccine is especially important for babies because they are still developing their immune systems.
Babies are still developing their immune systems, and so they are at a greater risk of having more severe complications or illnesses if they do contract measles. So we do want to protect them. It's kind of that trade-off. You know, we want to keep babies safe and healthy, but we also don't want to have to give them that extra dose if they don't need it, if that makes sense.
While the state is recommending early vaccinations for some infants, some studies suggest the effectiveness of the vaccine may decrease later in life, meaning they may need boosters as they age. To get more information on the measles vaccine, talk to your primary care doctor, or you can visit epidputah.gov/measles-response. Hurricane Melissa has now weakened as it moves through to Cuba. After the break, we'll get an update on the damage and destruction left behind in Jamaica and how the U.S. may help with the cleanup efforts. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
Things are looking good on all major freeways throughout the Wasatch Front. No delays and good speeds in Ogden, Salt Lake, and Provo. Still seeing some slight delays over in Tooele on southbound Main Streets between Erda Way and the intersection at 2400 North. Looks like there's road work that has the right lane blocked throughout this section of the road. And also, as Eric alluded to there are lane restrictions at the intersection of 2100 South and 3rd West in Salt Lake due to that incident from earlier. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers, all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866. 800-549-8866.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. Hurricane Melissa is still in the Caribbean, now hitting Cuba before moving on to the Bahamas. Yesterday, it made landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm. It was the strongest storm ever recorded to hit Jamaica. Hurricane scientists with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration said that Melissa was so powerful they had to turn back at one point because of the turbulence caused by the storm. Hurricane scientist Kelly Ryan was up there and told ABC News about the experience.
There were a lot of land effects, which tend to disrupt the circulation. So, for example, we dealt with a lot of turbulence related to the mountainous regions of the islands. And while it isn't as strong as it was before, that wind field has expanded. And so you're still looking at a very dangerous situation for those people still in the path of the system.
President Trump was asked about Hurricane Melissa making landfall on Jamaica while he was aboard Air Force One earlier today, and he says the U.S. will provide aid.
Humanitarian basis, we have to, so we're watching it closely and we're prepared to move when, it's doing tremendous damage. As we speak, it's right there right now.
The president says he was shocked at the size of the storm. ABC's Ike Kajachi is in Kingston, Jamaica. He joined Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast. He says the destruction he has seen so far is quite intense.
This was a massive storm. I'm talking about a Category 5 hurricane with winds up to 185 miles an hour. And that was the highest ever recorded here in Jamaica. Now, the eye actually made landfall Tuesday afternoon in St. Elizabeth Parish, but the damage stretched from the southern coast all the way to Montego Bay in the north. And when we finally got a chance to walk outside and see exactly what this was doing, it was intense. We're talking about 30 inches of rain or more, some places even hitting 40 inches, especially in the mountains. And that rain, it unleashed flash floods.
roads were washed out, bridges collapsed, and landslides were blocking emergency crews from reaching many communities. Now, if you look at the coastal towns like Black River and Great Bay, waves literally crashed into homes, businesses, and even hospitals, forcing urgent evacuations and sending boats aground.
Take a look at this storm surge, 13 feet in some spots, affecting the entire southern coastline of Jamaica.
We got a chance to walk by the coastline just to see exactly what it was looking like, almost pushing me into the Caribbean Sea at once. Luckily, I held my balance and managed to stay ashore.
And you're okay, Ike? Like you and the team and everyone is okay?
We're a little wet, but we're definitely safe and okay.
He says even though the island country of Jamaica isn't super huge, the destruction varied quite a bit, with the brunt of the storm being felt on the western side of the country.
Where I was in Kingston, around the southeast area, it was essentially a tropical storm. We didn't really reach those hurricane-force winds at that part. But where it really, really took effect was toward the western part, towards St. Elizabeth. That's where we saw essentially roads turn into rivers. It was bad. We saw the water rushing through these communities, massive deluge, essentially carrying cars and homes all over the place. It was tough. More than 50,000 people lost power, and the repairs essentially could take days. We know right now communications, they're a little spotty, and families, they're just having a tough time because they still can't check on their loved ones.
This is one of the worst experiences that we'd have ever encountered.
Now, the local government, they actually opened up hundreds of shelters, but the turnout was mixed. That's because some people stayed home afraid of looters or convinced their house would actually hold. Now, there's growing concern about how long water and supplies will last in those isolated areas.
Yesterday, we told you KSL meteorologist Devin Mishuli's cousin was stuck on the island. Devin says today her cousin Mercedes is safe and that the resort she's been staying at saw downed trees, broken beach chairs, and some flooding. But right now, she has water and power. More than 400,000 Utahns would have their health insurance premiums go up dramatically if a set of tax credits expire at the end of the year. The health insurance tax credits put in place during COVID have been a major talking point during the government shutdown. Utah Insurance Commissioner John Pike says it's a big deal for those currently covered by the Affordable Care Act.
If it goes away, that means they're paying full freight, if you will, for their premiums. So it's going to be, for a total of 422,000 Utahns roughly, and 32,000 of those will lose, their whole incentive, their whole tax credit, I should say. So it's a challenge. Again, some might have other, opportunities for coverage. That maybe they could reach out to. They may have an employer plan now that maybe they didn't have a year or two ago, and a spouse plan or something, and so they may have other opportunities. But other than that, it means either trying to come up with the difference or trying to look for a plan in the federal marketplace that maybe they can afford more, but that's going to have lower coverage, which of course means they'll pay more for that coverage, for their services as they go through the year. So it's a difficult situation, and it's just a matter of seeing what Congress decides to authorize or not. And, in the meantime, open enrollment begins November 1st, and so people will begin, if they haven't already, they'll begin to look at these numbers and see, what the impacts will be and what choices they're going to make that are really to be effective January 1st.
While those covered under the federal plan have a couple of months before this change takes effect, Pike tells KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff there are very few options for those on a limited budget.
Well, the alternatives are not nearly as comprehensive in terms of the coverage, but there are what are called short-term health plans that can basically go up to a year. They can be renewed, after that, but they're a couple times. But those aren't a great solution. They're named short-term for a reason. They're not as comprehensive. Like I said, they don't cover as much. They also require medical underwriting to be approved for coverage. So not everyone would be able to get that kind of coverage. And then the only other option really that I'm aware of is not insurance, but there are, various health sharing ministries out there, often faith-based health sharing ministries that offer kind of these group plans. They're not insurance. They're not guaranteed to pay, but they kind of share in the healthcare risk. And so, those are choices people could have, but it's certainly not as comprehensive, and for someone who's got concerns or medical conditions that they're dealing with, certainly wouldn't necessarily cover all of the things that would be needed, and in some cases they may not qualify for that coverage. So it's not comparing apples to apples, I'll just say.
Pike says on average the premiums for a family of four making over $128,000 a year would go from $847 a month to over $1,700 a month. And again, he's saying that people need to make those decisions in the next couple of months as the open enrollment period has just gone underway. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall set to make a major Olympic announcement. We'll bring it to you live. Even with higher interest rates right now, more and more Utahns are choosing to refinance their mortgage. We'll find out why. And KSL traffic, Tito.
A nice quiet drive on all major Valley freeways, good speeds and no delays on I-15, I-80, and I-215. Maria?
And the market's making a bit of a comeback, but they've been bouncing up and down since the Fed's announcement. A complete update of your money news straight ahead as well. It's 1:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Federal Reserve Board cutting interest rates by 0.25%, the second rate cut of this year. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says the labor market remains a concern. ABC's Alexis Christophorus has more.
After this meeting, the next time the Fed may cut rates is in December. And again, the Fed is really dealing with a balancing act, if you will, because inflation is starting to heat up, yet we do have evidence of a slowdown in the job market. This week alone, major companies, including Amazon, Target, GM, announcing thousands of layoffs.
Powell also signaled the ongoing government shutdown could impact the economy. A special grand jury has indicted 6 people, including Illinois Democratic congressional candidate Kat Abigazala, of blocking vehicles during September protests outside Broadview ICE facility just outside Chicago. President Trump in South Korea today for the APEC summit. Tomorrow, he'll meet on the sidelines with China's leader and could finalize a trade deal. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local stories. A man is dead and an officer is recovering after a police shooting in Salt Lake City this morning. Police say officers responded to an assault in progress near 2100 South and 3rd West, where they came across a man armed with a rock. Salt Lake City Deputy Chief Brandon Christensen says West Jordan police are now leading the investigation.
Protocol Team 4, led by West Jordan, they'll run the investigation. Salt Lake PD is not going to be running any investigation at this point. They're handling the scene.
The man who was shot died on the way to the hospital. The injured officer is expected to recover. Traffic in the area remains slow as investigators process the scene. The family of the man shot and killed at the No Kings rally in Salt Lake City this summer are asking for someone to be held responsible for his death. Lawyers for Afa Alu's widow, Lara, say they have enough evidence to prove that the peacekeeper who shot into the crowd was not justified in firing his gun. Peacekeeper was allegedly aiming at a different man who was legally carrying a rifle at the time. 2 former Homeland Security agents based in Utah are headed to prison after pleading guilty to an illegal side hustle. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
Prosecutors say agents David Cole and Nicholas Kindle not only arrested people for selling synthetic bath salts that mimic illegal drugs, they would also take the evidence and sell it to an undercover informant. And over several years, they made hundreds of thousands of dollars. That informant eventually turned them into the FBI, and both have since pleaded guilty.
Cole will spend over 7 years in prison. Kindle got 5 years. Senator Mike Lee has come under fire after critics accused him of linking immigrants to the measles outbreak across the U.S. The senator reposted a story about measles outbreak here in Utah with a comment questioning if those cases were from U.S. citizens. There have been 59 people diagnosed with measles in Utah this year. The owners of Real Salt Lake and the Utah Royals have introduced the first ever president of soccer operations for both clubs. They have called on Jason Christ to manage both teams.
Nobody will work harder
or be more committed to this than me. The best is yet to come.
Christ was the first player Real Salt Lake ever signed back in 2004 and was the coach when RSL won the MLS Cup in 2009. Taking a look at your money at this moment, markets continue to bounce around. The Dow now down by 182 points, sitting at 47,524. S&P 500 down by 17. The NASDAQ, though, it's up 56 points. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito, what's the latest?
Good speeds, no delays as you make your way throughout the Wasatch Front. I-15 looking great as you travel either way between Ogden and Provo. And in Salt Lake, the intersection at 2100 South and 3rd West looks to be all cleared up following that incident from earlier today. And we're still seeing delays over in Tooele on southbound Main Street. It stretches between the intersections at Erta Way and 2400 North. Roadwork has the right lane blocked throughout this stretch of the area. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today at 60 degrees, 58 tomorrow, but then the temperature climbing up to 68 degrees by next Tuesday. 52 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Thursday on KSL, Saltaire, a Utah landmark filled with history and ghosts.
Doors open and close.
I kept hearing footsteps all around.
From the man facing Utah's worst fears for more than a decade.
Wants to talk to me. Yeah. What do you want to know?
Andrew Adams takes you inside if you dare.
Did you die here?
Spooky Saltaire, Thursday at 10 on KSL.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro. On them, it's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
24 monthly bill credits on experience beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended, balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99 and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence Data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's happening right now. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall announcing plans to help more Utahns get excited for the upcoming Olympics next year and the 2034 Olympics coming to Utah. Let's listen in.
But the balloon should indicate to you this is not a bad situation. This is a good day, and we're all here to celebrate what we have to announce. Today marks exactly 100 days until the Milano Cortina Olympic Games begin. 100 days from today. It's 3,026 days until our first opening ceremony in 2034, but who's counting? We do have a paper chain in City Hall, actually, of 3,026 loops that we're tearing down. And the thing about Salt Lake City is we are an Olympic city. Every single year, Utah is an Olympic state. And so it doesn't entirely matter where the games are happening in the world, because if they're happening here. And they're happening in our homes. They're happening in our hearts. And what we get to announce today is the best part of being at the games is that we're together, and we're going to do that for Milano Cortina, Olympic and Paralympic Games. What we're here to announce today is that Salt Lake City wants to host all of Team USA's fans and family and friends to watch every single night the Olympic and Paralympic Games in Milano Cortina right here outside of Washington Square. We want you, every one of you who is a Team USA fan like me, whether you live in rural Utah, you live in the state of Maine or Washington State, if you're a Team USA fan who lives in Brazil, if you're not heading to Italy for Milano Cortina, you need to be here with us. We're going to be hanging out every single day of the games, and we're going to be we'll have a large TV screen. Our friends from Dragonfly Productions are here. Mike Jaquit, you're going to hear from him in a minute. If you were here last July 2034, or rather 2024, when we celebrated the BID Award for Salt Lake, Utah 2034, you know how much energy we can bring. It was like 2 a.m, and we said, we want to host a party. We don't know if anybody's going to show up, but we're going to do it. We put a big screen up with Dragonfly, and lo and behold, thousands of Utahns came out in the middle of the night. And I can tell you, and I think Kat can tell you, that when we were up on the stage in Paris and we heard the fans back here at home cheering for us, that was the most wonderful and emotional and meaningful part for me as a Utahn when we were celebrating together. So 100 days from now, make your paper chains. We're going to celebrate by beginning here with an opening ceremony celebration, and you'll be able to come back free of charge any day, night you want throughout the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2026 and celebrate with all of Team USA fans. I didn't read anything from the script. But are you excited? There's going to be a lot more details. We've just recently completed our contract with Dragonfly, and again, you'll hear from Mike in just a minute. More details to come, but know that this is a party for everyone. This is about the togetherness of what the Olympic and Paralympic movement mean to us, and we want everyone to be able to be there. We'll have fire pits and heating elements, but we're Utahns. We can do this. It doesn't matter what the weather's going to be like. And I also wanted to announce that I believe it's next week that we're going to start the request for a group to help us engage the community about, if you're a Salt Laker, we want to know what impact you want the games to have on our community. And we're about to kick off that process to get an entity to help the city engage at the community level. So watch for that for all the Salt Lakers. We're going to be asking you. And of course, at this incredible watch party that we'll be hosting, you'll have more opportunities to tell us how you want the games to make an impact in the long term, in the near term, and in the long term for us as Salt Lakers. So with that, without reading anything I was supposed to, let me turn the mic over next to my dear friend Kat Norman. I want then you to hear from Tristan Gale, who's a gold medalist from the 2002 Winter Olympics. She was the first woman to medal in skeleton. And then you're going to hear from Mike Jaquit with Dragonfly Media, and then apparently cookies will be served. So let me turn it over to Kat.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for having us all here today. And I am here not only representing the organizing committee, but also our athletes and our community members. We're all members of this community, proud members of this community. In the Olympic and Paralympic space, we have a phrase that once an Olympian, Paralympian, always an Olympian, Paralympian, never former, another, never past. And to me, that resonates also with our community, with Salt Lake City and with Utah. You all did us so proud back in 2002. Many of us had that opportunity to compete and to have the energy of fans of our community to come out and cheer for us. It was once in a lifetime experiences. And when I look back to July of 24th of 2024, for me, that moment wasn't just about our community, but it sparked the next generation of athletes who are dreaming to be here again in 2034. It sparked the next generation, just like we all had those dreams growing up of being able to compete in the Olympic and Paralympic Games, doing it in front of our friends and our family. And so a huge thank you to the mayor and to the city and to our community to coming and embracing this. Come out. Be a part of our
And the city
athletes'
announcing
journeys.
today, Salt Lake City Mayor announcing today that during the Milan Olympic Games, 100 days from now, the Salt Lake City is opening up city and county grounds there. They're going to have a major big screen like they had during the July 24th announcement for everyone to come and celebrate the games and celebrate the athletes. We'll be back with more Midday in 60 seconds.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Mortgage rates have fallen to just over 6%, and Utahns aren't waiting around for that to change. Refinancing requests are up significantly this month. Kimball Mabin is the senior loan officer with Guild Mortgage.
From last month to this month, overall fundings, including purchases, are up 20%. However, what's interesting is if you extract refinances in the Southwest region here, which includes Utah, we're up over 213% in 1 month. That's a significant increase. Of course, with the feds doing their announcement here just anytime this morning with potential reduction in prime, we could see that even grow from this point.
Carrie Mabin says there is no timeline on when you should or shouldn't refinance your home.
What you'd want to look at is what is your goal? What's your monthly payment reduction? Your loan amount will dictate how much of those savings. So, for example, if you have a $100,000 loan amount and you want to refinance and the rates have only dropped 1%, that would reduce your monthly outlay, but maybe not as much as if your loan amount is $500,000 and you've reduced your rate 1%. That's going to be obviously a more significant reduction in monthly payment. So you'll want to make sure you talk to your loan officer, run those numbers, compare that against the actual cost of refinancing. And there will certainly be a point, if not now, to run those numbers and see if it makes sense to refinance.
She says it's possible that with the Fed's decision to lower interest rates today, a 30-year fixed rate could fall below 6%.
A lot of times it's based on expectations, of course, so it may be built into the market thinking that they're going to reduce it. The question will be, is it a quarter, is it a half, or does it meet the expectations of the market? And yes, to answer your question, it could reduce it even more. We could see this trend continue.
Carrie Kimball Mabin says she doesn't see the refinancing rate going down anytime soon. After some major flooding in the Rose Park neighborhood of Salt Lake City earlier this month, the county is coming in to make sure canals work properly in the future. More on that in just a few minutes. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
A very quiet drive at this hour. I-15 in great shape as you make your way north and southbound throughout the valley. Same can be said for I-80, I-215, and our secondary freeways. The only delay that lingers is still over there in Tooele. It's southbound Main Street, and it stretches between the intersections at Erda Way and 24th North. Expect delays as you make your way through this stretch as roadwork has the right lane blocked throughout this portion. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Man, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. And I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Rose Park neighbors have noticed some heavy equipment over the last few days, in some cases producing loud noises and shaking the ground. It turns out Salt Lake County crews are in the area working to head off future flooding problems after a massive storm dumped inches of rain and flooded the neighborhood on October 4th.
There was, a lot of rain in that time frame, and it really highlighted some of the issues in that area. And so we're working with our city partner, Salt Lake City in this instance, to help continue to see if we can respond to what's taking place in that area. And all of this is in the effort just to prevent or at least lessen future issues in this area, in the Rose Park area. I think there is a little bit of a misconception about dredging. We're not currently actually dredging. What we're doing is removing phragmites or the large vegetative overgrowth in some of these lookers drainage ditches in the area that really prevent water from flowing efficiently through that area. It's very flat in that area, so any of the blockages that come from overgrowth really cause an issue when we have these larger events.
Cade Monker is a division director of Salt Lake County Flood Control. He tells KSL News Radio's Becky Bruce this work isn't really about concerns about spring flooding, but rather larger events overall.
This area is really rainfall driven, so it's hit hard by rainfall, and like it was in early October where the rain just camped right above this area and just continued to rain for a significant amount of time. During spring runoff, we actually don't see issues in this area, and the reason is because all the runoff happens through the natural rivers and creeks and streams. And this is a man-made ditch in the area of Rose Park that's used primarily to drain neighborhoods through stormwater received in the form of rain. So we're not going to see an issue through spring runoff in this area, but any large rain events that happen, we do see issues in this area. And if they're very large events, we see this kind of a problem. So, it's working with our city partners to figure out what we can do. And if we see an opportunity to do something, and a lot of times when you have, something bad happen where you have some homes see some problems, you definitely shine a spotlight on things. And if we can take advantage of being able to work with UDOT and the city to help out where we feel like we can make an impact, we'll do that.
Monker says major rain events often point out drainage problems that they didn't even know existed.
You can have a very large rain event in a localized area like we did on October 4th, but you just really never know where it's going to be. It camped over Rose Park area that time, but it could happen above Mill Creek and have similar issues where you have too much water for the rain and everything to drain through the street and city curb gutter system. So it really depends on where it hits. And if we knew where it was going to hit, we could concentrate all our efforts there before it happened and really make an impact on prevention. But really, you just don't know. And that's the hard part about, flood control and trying to predict where the next thing's going to happen. You pretty much just have to go through your routine maintenance. And when you see a problem, if you can make an impact after it's done, or you can get to it right when it's happening, that's what we try to do. But, there is some complaints about maintenance back along these areas. And really, I think the issue is these are very tight window to do work. We have really confined area to do that work, and we have to use large machinery to do it. So we have, a big piece of equipment with a track that kind of does vibrate the ground when it goes by. And I think in an effort to reduce some of the disruption to the surrounding area, we're going to utilize some different machinery that's a lot less large to kind of transport the piles that we're making of this vegetation removal back and forth to a staging area to try to limit the movement of this larger machine. And so I think we're just going to try to respond to some of the neighbors' concerns in this area and do what we can.
Monker says they try to spot problems before they happen and respond quickly to the ones that no one sees coming, all to make sure next time the water goes where it's supposed to rather than flooding streets and homes. UDOT has unveiled a plan to connect over 2,500 miles of trails across the state. They are calling it the Utah Trail Network. Stephanie Tomlin with UDOT says these trails will be paved, making it easier for Utahns to walk or bike on instead of driving in their car.
The Utah legislature allocated ongoing funding to UDOT in 2023. So we actually already have projects in the works right now. So we've been working on 20 projects across the state. We're expecting several of those projects to break ground as early as this spring. So we are already working on projects, but this master plan map is the direction that we're going to be going. The master plan designates 2,600 miles of proposed paved trails all across the state, and also designates 500 miles of existing paved trails into the Utah Trail Network. So we have maps, or we have trail projects either existing, proposed as far north as Bear Lake, all the way down to St. George, Moab, out west to Tooele, and all the way out east to Vernal and Duchesne County, and pretty much everywhere in between.
Tallman says the goal is to make this trail reliable and comfortable for people of all ages.
It's separated from vehicle traffic. It provides that kind of high level of separation. So when you're on it, you feel secure and you're excited to bike and walk. We're trying to give people options so that they don't feel like they have to jump in their car to get to the places that they need to go. So we're hoping this helps with traffic congestion, air quality, but it's also helping with quality of life. We're giving people these transportation routes and trails that are fun to be on, that are, they encourage people to get out and have some physical activity and, kind of be together outside.
She says this trail system will work the same way our roads and highways do.
This is the interstate system for paved trails. So people can kind of think about it as the I-15s and the I-80s, but of paved trails. So this network will be the backbone or spine of paved trails, and then we'll have the local networks really tying into it. And so with that happening, you can imagine the whole active transportation network kind of linking together eventually.
That is UDOT. Stephanie Tomlin. You can see the map of trails up now on KSLTV.com. Can't wait to use those trails. In the next hour of Midday, we'll talk about Halloween and sicknesses. With flu season just around the corner, is there anything you need to know before your kids head out trick-or-treating on Friday? Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A decision to close daycare centers run by Salt Lake County sparking concerns from families who use the service. County council members saying they're trying to cut programs so they don't have to go through with the mayor's proposal of a 20% property tax raise.
We have a lot of people who are hurting out there right now with all of the federal things going on and people having other subsidies and things cut. A tax increase is really difficult.
Not all council members are on board with the idea.
I don't know why there was a big demand to do this right now.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, October 29th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll go in depth on this story, getting both sides of the story, and chat with the parent who would be affected by the closures, who says she's worried about the impact this will have on her community. Also this hour,
novelty, that seasonal makeup, look at where it's coming from.
A warning from health officials about your child's Halloween costume and lead poisoning. But first, our top stories. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates today by 0.25 percentage point. Fed Chair Jerome Powell told ABC that the economic picture in the U.S. is muddy.
In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and risks to employment to the downside. A challenging situation. There is no risk-free path for policy as we navigate this tension between our employment and inflation goals.
Following the announcement, the Dow plunged by about 150 points. It's now down by 73 points, sitting at 47,632. S&P is flat, and the Nasdaq, it's up by 131 points. The interest rate for a 30-year loan is dropping very close to 6%, the lowest rate in over a year. Senior loan officer from Guild Mortgage, Carrie Kimball Mabun, says that has a huge amount of Utahns scrambling to refinance their homes.
Fundings, including purchases, are up 20%. However, what's interesting is if you extract refinances, we're up over 213%.
Nationwide, there's been a 111% increase in refinancing requests from the same time last year, so we are more than double the national rate. The ongoing government shutdown could cost the U.S. economy $14 billion. The Congressional Budget Office released a statement today saying that the cost has already reached $7 billion and will continue to rise if the shutdown prevails. The next vote to reopen the government is not yet scheduled. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Tito Nani.
No issues at the moment as you travel on I-80, I-215, and I-15 throughout the Wasatch Front. We are still seeing lingering delays over there in Tooele on southbound Main Street. Stretches between the intersections at Erta Way and 24th North. Expect delays as you make your way through this stretch as roadwork has the right lane blocked throughout. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our temperature inching up to a high of 60 degrees today. 58 degrees tomorrow for a high, 61 on Friday, then up to 68 degrees by next Tuesday, and no chance of rain. 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that, and third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A decision by the Salt Lake County Council to close county-run daycare facilities has sparked some serious outrage and concern today. Many say the decision leaves parents in the lurch, saying that finding a new daycare before the county ones close at the end of the year is impossible in today's climate. But county leaders who support the closures say it's simply a financial decision, one they hope will help prevent a proposed 20% property tax increase in the county. I spoke to County Council member Laurie Stringham to get more information on why she supports the closures.
Well, currently the county is proposing a 20% tax increase in which the council has the determination of wanting to pare back. We have a lot of people who are hurting out there right now with all of the federal things going on and people having other subsidies and things cut. A tax increase is really difficult. So the council is looking for ways to pare that back. And in order to completely cut it, we would have to find $48 million in cuts. So what we had to do is go back and look at programs and things that are not county required or state required by statute, and look at programs that are not running at their full capacity or are being run the way they need to be run in order to make sense. And this, unfortunately, was one of those.
Yeah, while it's not required, we know that there is a shortage of daycare in the state of Utah already. So how difficult was it to make this decision?
It was hugely difficult. I know how much it's going to affect my community where I actually live. One of the daycares is in Kearns where I live, and I can't tell you how much I agonized over this. I plan to be heavily involved personally to try to make sure families find places and that we get them the things they need to be able to help in this situation. But it is so difficult right now, and we're not in a good place as a country and as an economy right now for tax increases at this time.
So when you say it's not being run the way it should be run, the daycare programs, why is that, or what is happening with those programs?
Well, we're not at capacity. We're not even close to capacity in those programs right now. And as we looked around, there actually is more capacity in the areas around it. We even invited and asked specifically the Daycare Association to find out if there is capacity, and they said they are actually losing people. The all-day kindergarten took on a whole bunch of kids out of the program when the state did that, and they're telling us that there's capacity right now in the areas surrounding it to actually take those kids in.
Okay, that is interesting. I hadn't heard that. When did these programs get started? I mean, how long have they been running?
As I understand, they were started under Ben McAdams, and there was a program that he started and put together during that time. There was never a reason or a purpose stated for why they were started. They were just started as I understood it. Matter of fact, there hasn't been a stated purpose or reason, which is part of the problem. And then as we started looking at it, we had a whistleblower not that long ago call in. An audit was done, and we found out we had an employee who was basically embezzling child care services from the county, and to deal with that. And as we looked at the numbers, how well it's performing, the fact that there is problems in it, I know that a study was done, and out of that study, we found that there was so many problems with the program, and it wasn't doing what it was meant to do. Even without metrics and a reason for it, it wasn't doing what a normal daycare program would do. And so as we looked at that, there are other entities that can do it better than what the county is doing right now. So that's why it's one of the things that we're looking at cutting.
You mentioned you understand the difficulty for those families. So what will happen? When will this actually happen? And what is the county doing to help those families?
So we are planning some parent nights to meet with them and bring in resources, both from the local association of daycares. They promised to come in and help find placement and find daycare programs that will help these families. But we also are bringing in the state. That 84% of the people at our program are on state vouchers, and so we can help them find locations and places that will accept the vouchers as well and get them covered that way. There's just a lot that's going to go into this, and so we will make sure we have all resources we can come up with for them there. And I know that the council members that I've spoken with are committed to finding and helping these families find places to go.
Anything that we need to add that I've failed to ask you?
I think the biggest thing is these cuts are not made lightly. I know a lot of people get frustrated and they think that these cuts plus a 20% increase is what's going to happen, but that's actually not it. The county council is working hard to cut down that 20% so it doesn't hit people like that. We're hoping that it comes in much, much, much lower. And we're working really hard to find those cuts. But we have taken a 5% cut every the last couple of years and made those cuts permanent last year in our budget across the board. And so for us to be able to come back and make huge cuts like this, we can't just cut little things here and there. It's now programs and things that have to be cut in order to make up that difference. $48 million is a hard number to hit, and this only cut about $3 million out of that.
There are currently 4 licensed centers in the county in Kearns and Magna and at the Mill Creek Activity Center and Northwest Activity Center. The centers serve roughly 300 families every year. The council wasn't unanimous in this decision. Fellow council member Yero Johnson is against the move, and he joined Inside Sources this morning to share his concerns with closing the county-run daycare centers. He says this decision didn't have to be made and that he and other council members had proposed another solution instead.
Suzanne and I proposed a substitution motion that would have given more time for all of this to be considered while also giving nonprofit organizations an opportunity to come in and take over these programs to provide a budget affordable solution while not disrupting all of these families' daily lives. But like I said, that got shut down. And my understanding is this issue had been in front of the council before I had taken my seat. I'm the newest member. I've only been on the council for a couple months. But I think at the beginning of the year, some other council members have been talking about this on the Republican side, and this was the time they decided to have the hammer fall.
As for timing, Johnson says he's confused why this needed to be done right now. He feels the whole thing is being rushed.
I don't know why there was a big demand to do this right now. I think that I'm a Democrat, and, I think that any time that you are passing or trying to pass a tax hike, people are trying to find ways for cuts. I'm in support of the mayor's proposed budget in its entirety. I think it's a really good plan for moving the county forward, but I think the Republicans are seeing this as an opportunity to try and make cuts as much as they can. And this was a big ticket item. It was $1.9 million and some change, about $1.9 to $2 million that they can say that they were able to save in tax savings for their constituents. But there's a real cost in human lives to this. We're getting letters from people in Kearns. My district in the Northwest quadrant had one of these daycares, those families were making an average of $60,000 a year. They can't afford $200, $300, $400, $500 extra a month for childcare services. So this is going to ruin some families, and I'm seeing that on the internet. I'm getting it in letters. I don't see why this needed to happen. Now, frankly, I don't think it ever needed to happen. I think these daycares, there was a solvable solution. We were given several options from an independent group that studied this, the Pathways Group, and that just got thrown to the wind. And we didn't do any of that. They just closed it.
Johnson says this whole thing is part of a broader conversation on the difficulties of childcare. He hopes the issue can be reopened and discussed in the future.
I mean, I do believe that we should provide affordable child care options to county employees. I think that that's a remarkable thing that we can provide as a service to people who have dedicated their lives to serving the other residents of the county. But that shouldn't come at the expense of providing daycare to the rest of our residents as well. I'd like for us to reopen this issue and take up the options that the Pathway Group gave to us that would have allowed these daycares to stay open and reform them so that these low-cost solutions are available to our residents countywide. But I am not optimistic about that possibility.
In just 60 seconds, we'll hear from a parent who would be affected by the closures and why she's worried about the impact it'll have on the community. Stay with us. Jim Weber is here from Foothill Oriental Rugs. And Jim, it's always exciting to have you here because then we know it's the semi-annual sale. First of all, you are one of the very few direct importers.
You hear that old cliche, we cut out the middleman, and what it enables me to do is I get better merchandise, more unique merchandise, even have a lot of things specifically made for me, and I can offer them at prices 25% below the industry average. So it's a win-win for me, and it's a win-win for my customers.
What have you got on sale for us?
A 9x12 Tibetan contemporary rug, retail price $95.04, on sale for $28.51. A 5x7 Pakistani silk rug, retail price $24.79, on sale for $9.85. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs because our retail prices are better than the industry and average, and right now they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village. We continue to cover this rather controversial move by the Salt Lake County Council last night to close 4 county-run daycare facilities. Before the break, we heard from 2 council members, one for the closure and one against the closure, but we wanted to get the voice of parents who would be impacted by this decision. I spoke with Christina Yamas, who has children that utilize the daycare centers, and she says she can move her kids to another facility, but the thing that bothers her the most about the decision is the lack of involvement of parents. She says that as a stakeholder, she wishes the county would have reached out to parents. She says she worries about the impacts those closures could have on the community as well.
We are using the current rec center facility. So our kid goes to the after-school program. So he is being picked up the bus and taken to the facility, and he is there until we go to pick him up. So we're going to have to find another way of taking care of the kid after school. So school ends at around 3:30 p.m., and we are still working, both parents. So we're going to have to find another way to take care of him in the afternoon, which is going to be farther away and not with his friends or the people that he already know. Most of the friends that he has there are coming from either the same school or other schools that are very close by that we can do play dates. It's people all from the community. Also, the people that take care of him are from the community. So people that we find in the stores, for example, or when we do a trick-or-treating in the high school, we can see them in there. So that community around him is crumbling.
Yeah, describe what that community has been like for you and why this is so upsetting for you.
Some of the people that take care of the kids in the afternoon are high schoolers, right crossing the street. So they are right from the high school in front of it. And I have seen my kid, there are some boys as well. I have a boy. And he has created a relationship with them and seeing older boys and learning some things from the high school and learning he has created some relationships with them. I really know that he appreciates them a lot. That has been one thing. The people, the employees at the rec center, They are amazing. They care for the kids. You know, when you go to some daycares and you hear a lot of yelling and everything, there is no yelling. A single time I heard a yelling. Even if you go and nobody sees you coming in to pick up your kids, the kids are playing, they are nicely. There is a lot about building community, respecting each other, no bully. So I know my kid is very safe in there. We also can walk there. We can ride our bikes. We can go to the playground after. We can go to the skate park. So there is a lot of things even that after we can do with the kids at the daycare to do play dates and everything and keep building those relationships, which is extremely important for us.
And what would you hope that the county would do? I'm not sure that they will change their mind on what they're planning to do, but what would your hope be?
So I watched the whole recording yesterday. I understand they hired this consultant to come up with some numbers. I understand those numbers were exposed as a very costly and inefficient financially program. I tried to actually look at the numbers. They were extremely blurry in what they showed in there. It was not something that I could assess, even like to understand what were the issues. But they also came up with some proposals to make it like more financially responsible. But they didn't accept that because there was a motion to extend the time for the closure and find other venues, other ways, other pathways. They didn't want to accept that. It was just like to close. So I would like, if maybe like a motion to revoke could be possible, I would love that they had listened or asked even the families. None of the families were asked. So when you do an assessment of something that is working or not, you need to include all the stakeholders. And the families that are using this are key stakeholders who were not asked. So I feel completely blindsided. I'm sure I'm not the only family who feels that way because I've heard about others. So I would have loved that they would have asked us.
The county council voted 5-4 to close the centers, but says it will help parents whose children are currently using the centers to find new daycare. After the break, we're going to talk about Halloween safety, and I'm not talking about things like reflectors on costumes. We are talking about lead dangers. That's coming up next. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
We got good speeds and no delays on our freeways in Salt Lake and Provo County, in Utah County for that matter. However, we do have a new incident. It's on southbound I-15. It's at the Layton Parkway exit in Davis County. This looks to be backed up towards about 1400 West. So if you're traveling southbound in Davis County right now, expect some major delays. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Utah Mammoth Hockey is back at Delta Center. Don't miss your chance to be part of the excitement as the Mammoth hit the ice all season long. Grab your friends, rally the family, and lock in your seats for the fast-paced, hard-hitting action. Great seats are available for most games, but they're selling fast. Head to UtahMammoth.com to get your tickets today. That's UtahMammoth.com. Your home for all things Mammoth hockey.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. We are streaming on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros. You've heard all the warnings of Halloween before. Make sure your kids have reflectors on their costumes. Don't let them go into strangers' houses. Check their candy before they eat it, and so on. Well, there's one danger you might not be aware of, and health experts are sounding the alarm ahead of the holiday on Friday. Today, the Salt Lake County Health Department is encouraging parents to be mindful of lead that may exist in costume products such as Halloween makeup. Health educator Candace Brees joined me to talk about some things that parents can do to protect their kids.
When it comes to Halloween, I would say novelty, that seasonal makeup. Look at where it's coming from. That's one thing, just because we don't have, the regulations are different in different countries. I would say if you are going to use it, try to avoid using the darker pigments, especially around the mouth, because the only way lead gets into the body is through your nose or mouth. And so when it's on their nose or it's on their mouth, if they rub their face and then eat something, then there's that risk. So we really encourage hand washing, making sure they're not touching that makeup to cross-contaminate it into their mouth. That's kind of the guidance we give, is really honestly, more than anything, make sure it just stays out of their mouth and wash their hands.
Yeah, because how would you know if there was lead in that makeup?
So it's not listed as an ingredient, unfortunately, and it's really hard to necessarily identify. I mean, we still occasionally will see things that are listed as not having it and having it. So I think the best thing to do is be mindful of how you're buying it. Look for reputable brands. Look for ones that the FDA has checked out and verified as safe. And if you have any questions or you want us to test it, you could always reach out to our program. We have a Google phone number that you can call or text or an email. And we're happy, if you wanted to bring it by our office in West Jordan, we're happy to test it with our XRF analyzer and see if we pick up anything off of it.
What are the other Halloween materials that we need to look at?
Yes, thank you for asking. So jewelry, old jewelry, any of that vintage jewelry you're looking at, or cheap, a lot of that costume jewelry is going to have lead. So it's okay to wear it. Just make sure kids don't put it in their mouth. Make sure they're not sucking on that. And then I would say, any of the toys, but especially like fixtures or like rivets on those outfits, I'd make sure the zippers, that those don't go in the kiddos' mouths, because we do find that those have been having lead as well.
Tell us about lead poisoning and how it works, and is that small amount a big deal?
Yeah, so with lead poisoning, it is a neurotoxin. So it affects all parts of the body because it mimics iron and calcium in the body. So it's going to get into any of those areas that those can get into. And when we talk about the brain damage, we're talking about the prefrontal cortex, which essentially means that we're going to have kids that are going to grow up having a harder time focusing, more aggressive behavior. We see an increased rate of incarceration as well as substance use, just because they've got these big feelings and then it's harder for them to convey them and articulate that. So we really it's a decrease in IQ. So we really like to promote reading. So reading your kids those Halloween books this season is great, because that's going to create new neural pathways to help that brain balance if there's been any loss. And then I would just say, with with lead poisoning, a little goes a very long way. We talk about dust, and I think people sometimes feel like maybe we're overreacting. But when we talk about what that looks like in a child's body, we say, if you take a standard paper clip and cut it into a million pieces, 3.5 of those in a half a cup of blood is the level that will trigger the Salt Lake County to call and say, hey, we saw your kid had this, we'd like to come and talk to you, give you some guidance on nutrition, and we'll bring our tester to see if we can find what the culprit is in the environment so we can get it out of there. But no level is safe. We see consequences at all levels. And it just kind of varies by the kid because there's not a textbook. You look for these symptoms. Some kids don't have any symptoms until they get into school and we ask them to sit still and be quiet. And then we start to see some of those challenges coming up.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add before I let you go?
Just enjoy the holiday. Don't overthink it. If you have any concerns about the paint, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll give you some guidance. We'll find some homemade recipes for you if you need to try and improvise. And we're just here to support, and we're always happy to talk to the public with any questions or concerns.
Again, Bree says there's no safe level of lead exposure. Salt Lake County's lead poisoning prevention and injury prevention programs provide education, resources, and partnerships to keep children health and safety. For more information, visit saltlakehealth.org. Later on in the show, we'll hear from Dr. Richard Ferguson, our partner with Health Matters on Midday, to talk about the impending cold and flu season and how it might affect your kids' Halloween plans. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. It's been 4 months since an innocent bystander was shot and killed at a protest, and today his family is demanding answers. The Federal Reserve cutting interest rates again today. We'll get some insights from an economist. And KSL traffic. Tito?
Heavy delays on southbound I-15 in Davis County. Southbound I-15 appears closed. Maria.
And checking the markets since the Fed announced that decision. The Dow ending the day down by 74 points. S&P just pretty flat today, but the NASDAQ up by 130. KSL's top local stories coming up in 1 minute. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Illinois, a jury convicted former Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson of second-degree murder in the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey last year in her home after she called 911 to report a possible intruder. Here's ABC's Matt Rivers.
The jury was charged by the judge to consider both a first-degree murder charge and a second-degree murder charge. They chose not to convict Sean Grayson on that first-degree charge, instead giving him a conviction on that second-degree murder charge. That carries a typical sentence between 4 and 20 years, but that's very different than the sentence that would have come down were a conviction to be had on the first-degree murder charge, which faced a minimum of 45 years to life.
5 weeks into the government shutdown, funding for critical SNAP benefits and food assistance set to run out in just 2 days. President Trump in South Korea after attending the APEC summit. He'll meet with China's president and could finalize a trade deal. And the Federal Reserve Board lowering interest rates by another 1/4 point today. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A man is dead and an officer is injured after an officer-involved shooting at 2100 South and 3rd West in Salt Lake City. Police say the man was armed with a rock prior to shots being fired. The man died on the way to the hospital. The injured officer is expected to recover. The investigation is ongoing. Health officials are advising parents living in or traveling to Washington County to vaccinate their children for measles early. The general recommendation is to wait until a baby is 12 months old for the first measles vaccine shot. But now the Utah Department of Health and Human Services says to get that shot at 6 months old if the baby is living in Washington County or if the family is traveling there.
Because there is this ongoing community spread, that's why we've made this recommendation.
State epidemiologist Clarissa Kiesling says it's safe to give your child an early vaccination. After that first shot, they can then wait until they are 4 or 6 to get a second dose following the regular vaccination schedule. Other local stories we are covering this hour. The Utah Mammoth have signed Logan Cooley to an 8-year, $80 million contract, a big testament of his commitment to the newest franchise in the NHL.
The team we have with Gunther, Keller, Sergei, the core we have here, it's a special group, and I'm excited to add to that. And, I think the way we're playing and the team we have, we're going to be a dangerous team to stop.
The 21-year-old center is now the highest-paid professional hockey player in the state. The owners of Real Salt Lake and the Utah Royals have named a new president of soccer operations for both clubs. It's a man who helped RSL win a championship, and he's hoping to do that again. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
The Larry H. Miller Company, who owns both RSL and the Royals, has tapped former RSL player and head coach Jason Kreis to manage operations for both clubs. Kreis forever etched his name in RSL lore back in 2009 when he was the head coach that helped them win their first and only MLS Cup championship.
Russell has been a champion out of Real Salt Lake.
Kreis also played for Real Salt Lake in the early 2000s and even became Major League Soccer's first ever 100-goal scorer while wearing an RSL uniform. Today, Kreis says his mindset is the same for both clubs from top to bottom.
To consistently and relentlessly pursue championships.
At America First Field, Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. We do have an emergency traffic situation. The latest with Tito Nani.
We have what looks to be an accident. It's on southbound I-15 in Davis County at the Layton Parkway exit. Southbound I-15 now closed beyond this point. We're seeing heavy delays back towards Hill Air Force Base. Use I-84 as an alternate route as heavy delays are expected to continue to pick up. And further north, southbound I-15 with heavy delays as well between Roy and the exit at 21st Street South in Ogden. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high of 60 degrees today. Not a chance of rain in the 7-day forecast. The overnight low, 35 tonight. Right now, 54 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The perfect present doesn't always come wrapped under the tree. Treat your loved ones to an unforgettable afternoon or evening of music and laughter with the Utah Symphony at Abravanel Hall. With tickets to our holiday programs this December, you're not just giving a gift. You're sharing a heartfelt experience that will create cherished memories. Show them you care with the gift of music this season. Visit usuo.org/holiday to get your tickets.
Pacific Corp is hosting a virtual public open house meeting to discuss a proposed 45-mile transmission line in southern Utah Valley that will span from Spanish Fork to Eagle Mountain. The meeting will take place on November 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. The proposed transmission line will improve system reliability for customers, meeting increasing electrical demand in the region, and connect additional energy resources. Get details and learn more at pacificorp.com/Spanish Fork.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. It's been more than 4 months since an innocent bystander was killed by a stray bullet at the No Kings protest in Salt Lake City. Now his widow and her legal team are demanding to know why charges still haven't been filed in the case. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson attended a news conference today as the family of Afu Alu spoke about their frustrations with the case.
We heard from Laura Alu today, the widow of Afa Alu, the man who was killed in the protest. You may recall back on June 14th, Afa was accidentally shot by a so-called peacekeeper at the No Kings rally. That peacekeeper was trying to fire at Arthur Gamboa, who had lawfully brought an unloaded gun to the protest. Gamboa was also shot, but he's okay. He was originally arrested, but was later released. But to this day, neither Gamboa nor the peacekeeper that shot Alu or Gamboa have ever been charged. One of her lawyers, Richard Lambert, says justice delayed is justice denied.
We've now passed 4 months without any clear accountability being demanded by those who have authority to do so. And I might just indicate that, do we want prosecutors to be deliberate and cautious and careful as they make that charging decision and review the evidence? Absolutely. But how long does it take to review the videos that many of you either produced or your station produced or received and then broadcast, and talk to the handful of people who are actually focused on the shooting when it occurred, or to review the forensics that are involved? And this is not a whodunit.
They did name the peacekeeper in this news conference, but we at KSL News Radio have chosen not to identify him at this time. Today, it seemed apparent to me, though, that Laura was sticking to her prepared script so she could keep it together as she talked about her husband's death, what he stood for, and her call for answers.
4 months ago, Afa's life was taken in the most undeserving way. My 2 children and I will have to live without Afa's enormous love, infectious light, but his booming laugh, and his bold and humble Samoan presence and positivity for the rest of our lives. He was a force. A force for good and a force to be reckoned with. The sign he was peacefully holding that day read, "The world is watching." His reach was and still is worldwide, and the world is most certainly watching this moment in time. The world is watching the action in response to the senseless and irresponsible injustice that he never deserved, and that no one else deserves in the future. The world is watching how we all rise stronger together with our actions for responsibility, justice, and meaningful change. Afa always stood for those who needed justice the most, and now I stand for him on his behalf. For his sake and for all of us, the world is watching.
She also talked about the lawsuit she and her legal team intend to file. Her lawyers say it would not only be against the peacekeeper who fired the shot, but likely against the organizers whose policies failed to keep Afa safe.
My husband Afa's death was the result of individual, organizational, and systemic failures. My intention with this lawsuit is to put my words to action, to create impact for accountability where responsibility was absent, and where negligence cost my husband his life. We all deserve to be protected by responsible policies, organizations, and safeguards that prevent senseless and avoidable violence in public spaces.
Her lawyers say they intend to file a civil suit with or without criminal charges being filed.
So, Heather, what does the district attorney say about all of this?
Since the news conference, we've heard from District Attorney Sim Gill. He said in a statement that they sympathize with the pain and loss, and they've been open and available to the Alu family and their legal team despite all these claims. But Gill says things like this take time, and they're carefully working through this very complex and nuanced case. However, they do expect to reach a decision soon.
That is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson. A Provo woman could face some serious charges after a deadly incident in a trailer park last night. Police say Nereida Miranda was driving with several bags of trash on the hood of her vehicle when she hit 2 children. Police say Miranda was driving the bags of trash to a communal dumpster for collection on her way out of the park. A 3-year-old girl died after being hit by the car, and a 4-year-old sustained a broken leg. Cindy Baxter, who lives at the trailer park, spoke with KSL TV.
Everyone is shocked. It's just heartbreaking for this family. The parents were inconsolable, obviously. It was a lot. I can't even imagine what they're going through.
KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas outlined more of the situation on today's Inside Sources.
The woman apparently didn't even see the child to the point where the child kind of came up under the car. I mean, it was just, the facts are just awful. And another thing that's a little bit disturbing about this case is if you think about driving down the road, you think you're on the right side of the road. The guy that was fixing his bike was actually on the left side of the road, and she hit the child with the left front fender of her car, so she had drifted quite a bit, apparently.
Skorda says the woman could face more serious charges due to the supposed reckless nature of the incident.
Well, manslaughter is not murder, and what we do in Utah, and every state does the same thing, is you sort of look at the mindset of the person when they commit the crime. And so if you think homicide means you causing the death of another person, and if you do it intentionally, like it's your goal, we call that murder.
Okay.
If it's a pure accident, it's not a crime because you have to have intent. For example, if you're driving your car, you're paying attention, you're following the speed limit, and a child runs out in front of you and you couldn't stop under any circumstance, even though you caused the death, it's not a crime. So then you have these sort of interim conduct, and manslaughter is one of those, like a drunk driver who runs a red light. That would be a vehicular manslaughter. This case, she hasn't been charged yet. She's booked into the jail. The county attorney down there in Utah County, Jeff Gray, is going to take a look at this case and decide whether it fits within the parameters of a manslaughter or whether she would be charged with maybe a lesser crime, which we call negligent homicide, because that's a lesser mindset. You have the intentional, you have reckless, you have negligent, and then you have what we might call an accident. And our laws are designed to punish not just the act, but the mindset of the person when they committed the act, if that makes any sense.
Police have booked Miranda on suspicion of felony manslaughter, but the decision of what charges she will face, if any, will be up to county prosecutors. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Cooler weather. What a relief. Unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Today, the Federal Reserve cut the interest rate by 0.25%. It is the second rate cut this year. Earlier on Midday, I spoke with Zions Bank senior economist Robert Spendlove, who explained why the stock market took a bit of a tumble after the Fed's announcement.
Well, this is what happened. So right now, Jerome Powell is having a press conference, and he's explaining why they did this. And, Jerome Powell, they're in a tough position. He's talking about how they've got two big risks that they're trying to mitigate. So they've got the risk of a labor market slowing, and they've got risk of inflation going up, and they're trying to find the right path, and it's really tough.
Okay, but is he also talking about another rate cut this year?
Well, so he was asked about that, and he was very clear. He said, we will not commit to more rate cuts this year. And, and he's not just saying that. There was actually two of the Fed governors voted against this rate cut today. One of them wanted to go further. The other one didn't want to cut rates at all. So there is kind of this disconnect within the Fed about whether they should go further or whether they should be done.
What does all of this tell us about the economy and the markets and how they're responding?
Well, a big part of the struggle is we don't know as much as we should. Because of the government shutdown, we're not getting the normal data that we would get. We don't know what the labor market really looks like. We didn't get an employment report. And so we think the economy is okay. We think it's holding up okay, but there's just not that certainty that markets want.
Yeah, and that uncertainty is really tough for a lot of us to make decisions on our spending. We're going into the holidays, whether we want to spend how much money we want to spend during the holidays or whether we need to refinance our mortgages. It makes it tough to make decisions.
Yeah, and we are seeing some of those price pressures. We're seeing that consumers are talking about that, how they're feeling price increases. They're feeling like their job isn't as stable as it was in the past. And we're, especially with lower income, we're hearing about higher stress, higher costs. And while upper income are doing okay, we're really seeing that stress with lower income.
A lot of times these numbers kind of sound like wah, wah, wah to a lot of people. I mean, what's the big takeaway today?
The big takeaway is we are seeing interest rates coming down. So you should see lower interest rates with your credit cards, with business borrowing, potentially with mortgage rates. And so it could be a better time to buy homes and expand a business in the future.
Yeah, before I let you go, why is it not directly tied to things like mortgage rates?
Well, the Fed only directly controls very short-term interest rates. A mortgage rate is tied to longer rates, and so the Fed doesn't have the same level of control. Really, markets control that, and it depends on how markets feel about the economy moving forward. And markets don't exactly know what's going to happen either, and so we have greater volatility in those rates.
Robert Spendlove is a senior economist with Zions Bank. Scammers are now using your own voicemail greeting to clone your voice and scam your friends and family. More on how you can block out those nefarious scammers coming up after the break. But first is KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Tito?
It appears that accident on southbound I-15 in Davis County at the Layton Parkway exit is in the cleanup stages. Southbound I-15 no longer closed, but expect residual delays in the area and consider an alternate route. We're still seeing some delays further north. It's on southbound I-15 again. It's between 21st South State Street exit in Ogden, and it continues down towards the 31st State Street exit. And then I-84 over towards South Weber as you make your way east towards the Highway 89 interchange. That looks to be slow as well. Tito Nani in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Just a few days left until Halloween, and while the weather is warming back up a bit, cold and flu season is still impending. There are some things that parents can do to protect their children and others from getting sick during all of the fun Halloween festivities this week. Dr. Richard Ferguson says this week's kickoff of the holiday season is also the onset of cold and flu season.
If you have the sniffles, a mild headache, yes, I know it's Halloween. Yes, I know you'd like to take your kids around, but you may be putting others at risk. So if sick and have a mild fever, stay home. Or at least if you're going to greet someone, say with candy, put on a mask to protect yourself and others, and even a pair of just vinyl gloves you can, either you're washing dishes with or you can just grab from the store. And then the other thing that we often want to instill, especially in our young trick-or-treaters, but as well for many adults, wash our hands often. Soap and water, 10 to 15 seconds, or some hand sanitizer. And let's try to avoid touching your face as much, especially if you are slightly ill.
If you are throwing a big monster bash, Dr. Ferguson says good ventilation goes a long way in preventing illness.
One thing that can be done if you're having a Halloween get-together inside, having something either cracking a window or filtering that air, even though it's a little chilly. So those air filters that were really popular, those HEPA purifiers that were very popular, that were marketed during times of COVID, bring that back out. That can actually help when you have a crowded indoor space and can reduce the amount of virus load kind of circulating from someone that may not realize they're sick, but that can also reduce some transmission. And then I have to say, get sleep. If you got time off, get your 7 to 9 hours, hydrate, balanced meals, and once again, check on your elders. People with chronic conditions and those that are pregnant, encourage them to get vaccinated as we go into the holidays. The more time we spend together, we do more than just share food and love. We share viruses.
Dr. Richard Ferguson is an emergency room doctor and the president of the Black Physicians of Utah. You can hear him every other Monday in our Health Matters segment right here on Midday. Remember the days of creating a really fun and unique voicemail greeting? Do you still do that today in 2025? Well, if you do, you may want to think again. Scammers are now using AI technology to record your voice from your voicemail greeting. They are then cloning it to scam your family and friends. KSL investigator Matt Gephardt has more on how you can better protect yourself.
3, 8, 5.
That automatic machine voice answering machine, it is so impersonal, so boring, so lame. No, it is perfect, says Brian Long.
Your voicemail greeting is the only thing an attacker needs in order to make a deepfake of your voice.
Long is the CEO of Adaptive Security, a cybersecurity company, and he says one of the biggest issues that they see is imposter scams.
What's particularly scary now is they could use the voice of, a friend, a loved one, whoever it is, in order to ask you to do something.
You will be taken under custody by the local police.
Yeah, imposter scams have long been an issue. We've all been bombarded by those incessant robocalls, right? Well, for decades, it's been bad guys pretending to be your credit card or the IRS or some other officialdom. Now, thanks to AI, it is getting more personal.
What's happening in a lot of these cases, Matt, is that it's actually someone in another country who, has a strong accent or has, some other issue, but they're using these artificial intelligence tools in order to, get beyond that.
At the tone, please record your message.
And as we have reported, it does not take more than a few seconds of hearing your voice for a bad guy to clone you. Long says, do not make it easy on them by giving a sample of your voice to anyone who calls, and here's your outgoing message.
If the voicemail greeting today is your voice, delete that voicemail greeting and go with the default robot voice.
And while you're at it, also don't post videos on social media with your voice or your kids' voices unless you're prepared for a bad guy to steal it. And also maybe avoid jobs like, say TV news anchor, where your voice gets put out there all over the place for people to steal.
That is KSL 5 TV's Matt Gephardt there. You can get more information by checking out his story at ksltv.com. Jeff Kaplan has entered the room. Doesn't that kind of freak you out that somebody can clone your voice and use it to, ask your family for money or scare them?
I heard you do the story earlier driving in, and I was like, what? No. Of course, our voices are out there anyway.
We're doomed.
Lost
I know.
cause.
It has anything to do with our voicemail. Okay, so here's another one for you, Jeff. How is your sense of scent? Are you the type who can smell fresh cut grass from several houses over with just a quick whiff?
Not me. No, my
No?
wife. She tells me what it smells like.
So the dirty diaper, you don't notice a dirty diaper when
That
the kid comes?
I notice.
That one you do
That
notice?
I notice.
Okay. Well, if you're interested in smells, a new fragrance exhibit just opened in Germany. It allows visitors a chance to discover unknown worlds by sniffing their way through 81 different fragrances across 37 galleries. It's called The Secret Power of Scents, and it takes visitors on a journey of more than 1,000 years of cultural history. Now, you can smell the scent of religious artifacts from the Middle Ages, wood, lots of myrrh, to the stench of medieval Paris, sewage, mold, and unwashed bodies. I don't think I need to go there. How about you?
I'm good.
How about the sense of what World War I would have smelled like, the scent of gunpowder mixed with metallic odor of blood and sulfur?
I think of museums and I think of dinosaurs, and I'm
Don't
now
you?
wondering what they
Right.
smell like.
Okay, well, yeah. They might have that one. I told you how many they have. Now, this exhibit opened today in Dusseldorf, Germany. It runs through March 8th. Jeff Kaplan obviously is here. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL